Okay, so we're going to come through and we're going to draw our draw. So if I flick over here, I'm going to start with this side piece, draw in my dovetails. Then I can duplicate it, draw my draw front as a rectangle, draw my draw back as a rectangle, use the combine tool to cut out the other half of my dovetails. Then I can add my base in, use the combine tool to cut out the slot for my base as well. So let's do that. So I'm going to draw a rectangle that's 154 long and 75 tall, and then we're going to come through and dimension our dovetails. So, new component, draw side 1, activate, sketch. My draw side is going to face this way. So I said 75 by 154. Zoom in here. Now I'm going to just drop a line straight down here. And I'm going to drop a line down the back here as well. What are those lines? Well, they are where these lines sit. So just remember, we're drawing just this piece. So the outside is here, not here. The outside's here of my rectangle. So I've drawn this line and this line. This line here should be 12 millimeters because down here it's 12 from here to here. This one here we're going to draw as 12 as well. So from here to here is 12. From here to here it's also 12. Now I can just come through and draw my lines. I'm just going to draw a line like that and draw these angled lines in. Then I'll use these dimensions. So we just kind of want to try and get it looking about right. So grab your line tool. There's a dovetail. There's the other half. There's a dovetail. There's the other half. If I flick back here, we've got 31 between these, 4, 31, and the last one we'll have to work out. So distance, here to here is 31, here to here is 4, here to here is 31. Now, if I try and dimension this to the corner, it's going to not be happy. So I'm going to go from this one to this corner, and we're going to do some calculating. So I know we're going to go bracket 75 minus 31 minus 4 minus 31 bracket divided by 2. Where do all those numbers come from? So it is 75, the total width of this piece of wood, minus this dovetail, minus this gap, minus this dovetail, which leaves us with this chunk pretty much. But we want half of our chunk here and half of our chunk down this end, so it's in the middle. And that's why we divide it by 2. So just remember you'll need your brackets for order of operations. So the answer is 4.5, and there it is sitting exactly in the middle. So that end is now done. The last thing I would do though is just trim that line and that line using the trim tool so you can easily see your piece of wood. Now we'll come back in a minute and we're going to fix up all these dovetail angles because they're all slightly different because we just drew them. So let's come and do this end. Then we'll make all of our dovetail angles all exactly the same. So coming down this end, we've got, it looks really funny. Now this isn't how we drew and built our draw in class, but this is how the drawings are. So I'm going to draw it like this. You can draw it like you have it in class, or you can draw it like this. This is a little bit easier because the numbers are already here. I'm just not going to put this chamfer on the top corner, so I'm just going to draw mine as a rectangle, and we'll go from there. So we've got to draw sort of half a dovetail, a full dovetail, and then this funny looking thing again. Why is it like that? Because the back piece of wood in the drawer in this drawing is only 57. So that measurement there is the width of the piece of wood. And then down here, there's a gap in the back. So this is the draw base in these dotted lines. It slides in from the rear underneath this backwards piece into slots, which just means you can actually pull it in and out once your drawer is glued together. Which is a very traditional way of building drawers. So you can actually pull them out and adjust them and replace things later as well. So it'll make sense once you see it assembled, but that's why it looks a bit funny and they're not all full dovetails. So let's jump back here and let's just throw some lines in. So we had a straight line, then we had our dovetail, which was something like this. Then we had our dovetail. And then we had our straight line here somewhere. Then we're going to start dimensioning things. So if I go from the top, it's 6, 6, 19 and a half, 6, 19 and a half, and 6. So 6, 6, 19.5, 6, 19.5, and this one was 6. And that'll give us our nice gap at the bottom that we need. So if we trim that out, we're going to get rid of this, 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 and this. Not that last one, sorry. So let's jump back in there with our line tool. Draw him back in. It's this one here and this one here. So you can kind of see all the bits of wood that make up our side piece now, but we still need to dimension these angles. So grab the dimension tool. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to choose 62. And then I'm also going to dimension this one here at 62. And that's all of my dimensioning for my angles. Why? Because I could go and dimension every single one of these, or I can say parallel. So I'm going to say this one is parallel to this one, which is parallel to this one, which is parallel to this one here. And they'll all be the same. This one is parallel to this one, which is also parallel to this one, which is also parallel to this one. Why is that better? I think because A, it's faster, but also if I go in here and I double click it and change it to 70, it will change all of them to 70. So it's really easy to make some changes if we don't like the look of it. So let's leave him like that now. Looks about right to me, and we'll finish our sketch. Then we can come through and extrude him, and we said our sides are going to be 12 millimeters thick. So draw sides 12, back piece 12, front piece 15, so that these are half blinds, whereas these ones at the back are throughs. So there is piece number 1. Now, what are we going to do with piece number 1? We're going to right click on it. We're going to copy. We're going to go up to cabinet part 1, and we're going to click paste new. We're not going to click paste, we're clicking paste new. Otherwise, when we cut out our base, the slot will appear on the outside of both pieces because it would be linked. So any change I made to this one would appear on this one. If I click paste new, it gives me a whole brand new piece that's not linked to the first one. So there's my 2 draw sides done. Now we want to do our draw front. So not sketch. We need a new component. We're going to make this top one active. Go again, new component. Draw front. Okay. And if you're like me, we just need to delete that one I just made a second ago by accident. So we're in our draw front, sketch on the front. If this pops up, we're just going to say revert position, which just means just put them both on top of each other again, which is fine. Now, draw front is something like that. Now, how big is it? It is 15 this way and 220 this way and 75 tall, I believe. 75. So, D for distance, 75, 220, done. E for extrude if you want to go faster, 15. There is my draw front. And now we draw our draw back. So same again. Should be nice and fast by now. Draw back. The parent is going to be this one up here, just remember. So that it lives in our list here. Sketch from the front. Let's just draw him here somewhere. How tall and big is this one? Well, it's a great question. It's going to be 220 as well. But if we jump over here, this is the one that's only 57 tall. So dimensions, 57. And then I can press E for extrude. And this one was only 12. And there are the 3-4 pieces for my draw. So I can pull that together and then add my base. So let's maybe draw our base first. So we're going to jump into here. We're going to make sure our parent is this top one. Go draw base, because we can figure out those dimensions off our drawing. We're going to go sketch. We're going to look down at our base. Half a rectangle. There he is there. Then we're going to draw our dimensions. So on this drawing, from this line to this line is our draw base, but there's a slot the whole way in. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that slot the whole way in, and draw the draw base the whole way in and just draw it fully so that our slot can be fully cut out by our draw base. Otherwise, I have to cut all the slots and then add in our draw base afterwards. So let's just do it in one hit and get it all done nicely, which means our draw base is going to be 154 this way, and then the other dimension is going to be, it's going to be 220 minus a bit. So we kind of want to leave, let's call it 5 mils on each end so that the slot doesn't come out the side. So it's going to be 220 minus 5, which is 210 by 154. So this way was 210 by 154, and it's going to be 3 mil thick. So E for extrude, 3, enter. There is my draw base. Now we just have to put this together. So joint, and for this, I'm going to start with my front. So I'm going to grab the corner here, and that's actually going to end up aligning with this corner here when they go together. So that's an easy one. We'll do the same on the other side. That corner aligns with that corner. Just make sure those colours are pointing in the same direction. Or except I've chosen the inside corner, I need to choose the outside. So that's okay. We'll just make this one active again. And then there's my joint. And we're just going to edit him and delete the first one and choose that second corner. So I'm just changing the selected parts here. So this is the first one I chose, that's the second one I chose. Okay, now he's all fixed up. So now we can probably go and put in our rear. So let's go joints. How do we align our rear? Well, it goes from here to here essentially. So I could go and choose this corner, and he's going to line up with that corner there. It slots in nicely. And then my base. Now, how do I align my base? Well, I know he starts at the back face, goes all the way in, but he's all offset. So I'm going to go joint. I'm going to grab him here. So that top corner actually sits just below here. And I need to spin him around because see how he's not quite even? He's actually got to go 5 mil that way because of our calculation. So now there's a 5 mil bit here and a 5 mil bit here as well. And he should just sit right there. So there's our drawer assembled. Is he finished? No. How is he not finished? Because if I turn my side off, my joints aren't cut. So I need to use the join and combine tool here to do some cutting. So target body is the one we want to target. So I'm going to start with the front. The tools are what cuts holes in it. So I'm going to use this one, and this one. It's on cut, and I want to keep my tools so they don't disappear. Same again for the rear. So we want to cut and target this rear piece here if we can. He won't let me choose him. So let's go over here and choose draw back. So I selected the body of the drawback. My tools are this one, and this one. Cut, keep tools, okay. Now I need to do the same for my side with my base. And same again, this side gets cut with that one, done. Now what should happen here is if I turn off seeing my base, I should see a slot the whole way through, and I can there. I can see in all the pieces. If I turn off one of my sides, I can see there all of the joints that are cut into those pieces. So one's blind, one's through, and the same should happen with the other one. Perfect. So that is all perfect. Turn our base back on. So there's our drawer. Now we can put him back in and put him into this slot in the right place. So I'm going to go joint. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up, say, this top corner with that corner there, because that's where he's going to go. He'll move across, but remember, all this is joined to that. So if it goes, the rest go as well. And then that is our joint in here. So if I just go into this joint and I right click and I go to edit joint, we actually want this to slide. So at the moment, this is all we've ever used. But if we go to the motion tab, it's currently set as a rigid joint, which means it's like stuck. If I change it, I can choose a slider joint, which means things can slide. And you can see now it's sliding up and down. Instead of the Z axis though, I might try the Y axis, and that's the one I want. But you can see if I just click, it'll show me which way things go. So that's the Z axis. So we want it to go that way. And then I can start setting some of these. So rest is going to be 0. If I type in 50 maximum, you'll see it'll move backwards. Now, I don't want it to go backwards. I want it to go forward. So if I say minus 150, it'll come all the way out there. But I want it to rest at 0. So let's go minimum 150, maximum 0, rest at 0. Preview those limits. There he goes. So if I go OK, I can now grab that draw and just drag him out and slide him forward. And he almost comes all the way, not quite. So if I go back into that joint, which is that little symbol there that's changed, edit joint, I go to motion, I might just make him 200. So minus 200, and then he'll come all the way out nice and easy for me. And he'll stop there, and he can go back in. Now he does just automatically go back in without me dragging him back in there. And we can have a little play with that a bit later, and I can show you why that is the case. But you can see there, if I animate it, that's how far he'll come in and out, which is always nice to see. All right, so there's our draw, all sorted. Door, so if we flick here, we're going to draw the bottom rail, then the top rail, then the sides, then our internal panel, assemble it, and then cut out all our joints using all the different pieces. So how do I do that? Well, let's use these dimensions to draw my bottom rail first. So it's going to be 196 this way by 30 this way. So we're going to go new component, door rail, sketch, off the front, rectangle, 30 by 196. And we're going to draw in our cutout for our tenon here while we're present. And I'm also going to chuck in a center line. So we're going to chuck in a center line down the middle there, because then I only have to draw half of it. Then my tenon's going to look something like that and come back in, I think. Let's just have another look. Yeah, exactly like that. And then we need our dimensions. 7, 17, 6. So from here to here is 7. Here to here is 17. From here to here is 6. That will give me 30 overall. And then we need to just take one last look at 6 and 18. So from this line here is 18. And then from here to here, because that top edge is shorter, should be 6. And that will move it that way. Now, what we can do is that's my whole tenon drawn. I can go through and select that line and hold shift, those 4 lines. I'm then going to mirror them around my mirror line, and I should end up with the same joint down this far end. Now, it all looks a bit funny at the moment, and that's okay. So now we've got that, we're going to extrude. E for extrude. We're going to extrude both of these, but I'm going to extrude it symmetrically, and I'm going to do it across the whole length, because what we're going to do is we're looking down from the top at the moment. So that whole piece is 15 wide this way, but we just want to do the extrusion for our tenon. So as in the thickness of this piece, because obviously that's going to be thinner than this piece. So if we flick down here, we can see in here, this is a much better drawing. So it's 15, and our panel sits in there. It doesn't actually give us a thickness for the actual bit of timber in there. So let's just say it's going to be, let's do a 10 mil tenon. So we're going to do 10. And there's our tenon. Now what are we going to do? We're actually going to jump back in and we're going to do another sketch, but I'm not going to choose this face. I'm going to choose this plane. So then it's going to be in the middle again. Now where does this go? It goes from this bottom corner to this corner here. We're going to finish, and then we're going to extrude that symmetrically the whole distance at 15. And so it should actually add on. So we want to do join, and it's going to make our piece bigger again. So I drew the internal one first, and I went from the middle again and drew the external one next. So there's my rail with my haunch. This is a haunched tenon. And that's going to go into my mortise nicely. So number one done. Now I'm going to go right click, copy, up the top here, right click, paste new. I'm going to drag it, and this time I'm also going to rotate it 180 so it's sitting the right way, so that when I assemble, life is easier. So there's my top and bottom ones. If I come back into these plans and I find my outside ones, they're 280 by 30. So that's just going to be a straight rectangle when I draw this. So we're going to go new component. These are called door stiles. So stiles and rails. Rails are horizontal. Stiles are vertical. Sketch off the front face. We're just going to say capture position, rectangle. We said 280 by 30. Extrude that. He's going to be 15. Done. And we're going to do the same thing again. Now I've accidentally put the door stile inside the door rail, so we're going to drag him out there so he sits in our long list. Copy, right click, paste new, because when we cut out our joints we want them to be different. Okay, there's my door. So door panel this time is, we're going to figure this out. So let's just run some rough numbers. It looks like it lines up pretty well with here, so let's call it 6. So it's 160 plus 6 plus 6. And then it's 280 minus 30 minus 30 plus 6 plus 6. So they're just rough dimensions. It just needs to fit in so I can cut out that slot. So let's go and make this guy active. Add a component. Draw, not draw, sorry. Door front. Sketch that guy off here. Capture the position. And we said 160 plus 6 plus 6. And then this way we said it was going to be 280 minus 30 plus 6 plus 6. All that, those numbers are the total length of our door minus the widths of these plus 6. So it cuts back into this and this 6 millimeters each. And that should be my door panel. E for extrude. That's going to be 3 mil. Done and dusted. So now we just need to join it all together. So we can grab, say, this top corner is going to align with this corner. Done. We're going to join, well, that's nearly lined up perfectly. But let's make it easier to find where to click. So we're going to join that one with that one. We can actually just grab that. Well, let's join. What should we join here? Let's join this top corner with, oh, not that one. Join this one. We grab a corner there and a corner there and blue up and down. That should be in the right spot now. So that's all joined, and then we need to put this door panel in. So how do we put that door panel in? Well, we're going to grab probably this corner in here, and then we're going to go this way, 6. Then we're going to go this way, 6. I always just find it easy to drag the direction you want because it'll change this box to that. Then type in your number and you'll see it's actually put in X and Z, but I don't really know which way is which. So that's the easiest way. Okay. And it looks like we've done something wrong here. And that's because when I've assembled it, I needed to actually do -6. So if we make that top one active, right click, edit joint. This one here, I believe, should be -6. There we go. And he should sit up in there. Now you can see he's sitting at the front, so he also needs to go back a little bit. So if we go edit joint, he needs to run this way. If we want him in the middle, he's going to need to go -6 as well. But it should just be 6. Okay, so there is our door, and we just need to do our joints. So using our combine tool, we need to target this one using our tools, which will be this, this, and this. Cut, keep tools, okay. Same again on the right hand side here. Target this one using these 3. Same again with the top. Target this one using that one. And then same with the bottom. Target this one using that one. Okay. And so now when I turn this off, I've got a slot all the way around. I've got my joints there. I've got my joints in there. And if you get really fancy here, you can now see there's my mortise, there's my slot. And that is how our doors will go together. Add our door into our cabinet. So we're going to grab that top corner and put it in there. Now it says they're originally joined. Now what does that mean? Well, if I look over here, this one has a little anchor, which just means this has been anchored to stay in the same spot. So this one piece here is anchored to the ground, and then this is all attached to that. So I'm trying to move the whole thing over here, and it's not happy. So I'm going to go continue, and I'm going to click OK, but then I'm going to come over here to my door style, right click, and say unground, and then it's happy again. So I need to then find that joint, right click, edit my joint, go to motion, and I'm going to change it to a revolute. So I can revolve like so. And that's the axis I want it to revolve on. And if I start putting in some numbers, I want it to go the other way. So I'm going to say minus about 120, I reckon. Something like that. Maximum is going to be, minimum, maximum is going to be 0 because I don't want it to go in, and it's going to rest at 0. And so my whole door should now open and close and not go any further than that. You make it open a little bit more if you want to, but there is our door. So all that we have left now is our top and our back. Draw our top as simply a rectangle of 280 by 185, 15mm thick, and we need to put those chamfers on it as well, or we can just copy the base because they should be the same size. So if I come all the way back here to my base, right click, copy, right click up the top, paste new, then I can drag him up, rotate him 180 this way, so that he's up above where I need him, and then we press enter. So there is my top, and remember this is a bit of a tricky one to align, so let's join him with, say, this back corner and this back corner. And then we need to figure out those measurements again that we used originally, because he needs to be offset this way. I reckon that looks about right. So it must be by 10mm because there's 2 squares just there and 2 squares just there. So our top is now assembled on there, and then we just need a back panel. So for our back panel, I reckon we just draw a panel that goes all the way over. So let's do some inspecting here. I'm going to measure from this corner to this corner, which is 250. Press escape. Same again. We're going to go from here to here, which is 400. So we need a back panel. So new component, back panel. Oh, wrong button, sorry. Rename him. Back panel 400 by 250. So sketch off this face, rectangle 400, tab 250, enter, extrude. We'll make him 3 millimeters, and we're going to join him this corner, not that corner actually, the other side. So this front side is going to join up with that joint just there. And he'll slot up there, and he'll sit at the back, and you'll be able to see him on the side, and that's okay. So there he's there. That's our cabinet finished. The only last thing we need to do is do some colour matching. So if you want to change some colours, we can do that. Now, if I go back into my draw slide, we do just need to fix up that joint. So if I go motion and go rest, turn that off, when I pull it out, it'll sit out here. So how do you change colours? If I just right click on any piece and go appearance, this will appear. I generally come down to wood. If you just click on it, it'll appear down here. If I click show downloadable, there's more options, but just pick something that looks all right, up to you. If we just use, say, well, let's leave it as this, or we go oak. Let's go oak. So it downloads, takes a little bit of time, not heaps long, and then I can just drag it to whatever piece I want. And it'll do it by each part that you've created. So, something like that. And then I might come down and do like a walnut for my side, so it's darker. And then I might want to do like a pine or something like that. Let it download. Chuck him in there. Chuck him in the base. And chuck him on the back. And you can kind of see how quick and easy it is to make it look about right. And there you have your cabinet fully drawn up. If you want to, you can always turn these off. So down in your view options, display settings, you can turn things off. You can change it to wireframes and do all this sort of stuff. But you can also turn off all your joints. So I'd turn off my joints. They're no longer there. And you can get some screenshots and make it look nice if you'd like to. But that is your cabinet finished.